She snaked that shiv out of her bosom and popped the gleaming blade open. She clawed my fly open with the other hand. I heard buttons bounce on the tile floor. My ticker was doing a foxtrot. She said, "You jiving pretty son of a bitch. You ain't no pimp. I'm gonna eat your sweet ass up or chop off your dick." I backed up to the wall beside the stool. I could feel the wet, throbbing tips of my fingers against the cool tile. She was grabbing inside when Sweet bulled in. He seized a fistful of her long hair. She squealed in pain. He jerked her away from me toward the door. He cussed her as he drove his needle-toed shoe into her wide caboose several times. He said, "Bullshit, bitch. This chump is in my school. I ain't gonna let you Georgia him. Now nix, bitch, nix." I heard her high heels staccato against the tile as she fled. He turned toward me. His black face was gray with fury. Maybe Sweet would forget I wasn't yellow. I remembered what Top had told me about those 4 murders. He thrust his flat black nose against mine. I could feel a spray of spit strike my lips as he cursed me. He twisted the collar of my vine like a garrote around my throat. He had snatched me 6 feet from the wall. He shouted, "Listen, you stupid little motherfucker. You know why that bitch screwed you around? You always grinning like a Cheshire cat. What's funny? Can I get the sucker out of you? I can't make a pimp out of a pussy like you. I told you once. Do I have to tell you 1,000 times? Green-ass nigga. To be a good pimp, you gotta be icy cold like the inside of a dead horse pussy. Now if you a bitch, a sissy or something, let me know. I'll put you in drag and you can whore for me. Stay out of my face, nigga, until you freeze up and stop that sucker grinning." I heard his ground grippers skid against the floor as he hurled me against the wall. The back of my skull torpedoed into it. Through a drowsy fog of pain, I saw him float away. My back snailed down the wall. I laughed at the funny way the shoe tips turned in as the long legs glided across the tile. I sat there on the cool floor, gazing at the weird, comical legs stretched out before me. I saw a pair of blue mohair legs right-angle the flat ones. I looked up. It was Top. He bent over to help me up. He said, "Kid, now you believe the ugly bastard is insane? Take this key to my hog. Get it out of the lot and back. Park in the block and cool it. I'm getting out of here myself as soon as I cop my end of the smack scratch." I riveted my eyes to the champagne carpet. I zigzagged through the snickering whores and pimps. I made it across the pit to the elevator. The Filipino was standing beside it. He was pressing the down button. He looked like a friendly brown snake sausaged in gold foil. He reached up and stroked my jacket collar down, flat, from around my ears. He took my lid off the pearl tree. He stuck it on my skull and snapped the brim. I felt the sweatband needle the aching boil. I adjusted my lid. He said, "Good night, sir. Sammy hopes you had fine time." I said, "Sammy Pyle, it's been a wild night. I'll never forget it." I got a whiff of crotch as the elevator plunged to the lobby. I wondered if the pretty brown-skinned jockey whored a little bit as a sideline. I stepped out of the gilded cage into the lobby. I saw a winking red-arrowed sign in the rear. I walked to the glass door below it. I went down the white stone steps to the parking lot. I spotted Top's red hog in the ocean of cars. I went to it, unlocked it, and got in. A big white Buick was parked in front of it. A grinning brown-skinned joker in white overalls came toward the Buick. I saw Smitty, blue-stitched across his breast pocket. He pulled the Buick out. I keyed the hog and scooted it out of the lot. I whipped around the corner and coasted to the curb 50 feet from the entrance of Sweet's apartment building. I shut the motor off. I lowered the driver's side window. I put my lid on the seat. I threw back my head on the top of the seat. I closed my eyes. I dozed. Something was crushing my jaw. A blinding spotlight burned into my eyeballs. I heard the foghorn voice. It blasted. "Police officers! Nigger, what the hell you doing? What's your name? Show us your identification." I couldn't answer with my jaw crushed in a vice. I was dazed. I lowered my eyes below the inferno of light. I saw a white, brutish wrist. Thick black hair bristled on it. I saw muscles cord and ripple across it as the vice tightened around my jawbone. I wondered if the copper was Satan and I had croaked in the hog and was being checked into hell. Hell or not, Satan wanted identification. I remembered the fox and the horse. I didn't even have a hide. Satan swung the hog door open. The door frame blackjacked the top of my skull as Satan yanked me from the hog. He released my jaw and slammed me across the hood of the hog, my wet palms skidding on top of it. Satan's fellow demon was punch-frisking me from breast to shoe soles. He poked an index finger inside my shoe. I felt a tickle in the arch of my instep. I said, "My name is Albert Thomas. Hell, I wasn't doing anything, officers. I was just waiting for my uncle. I lost my wallet." I didn't finish. A galaxy of shooting stars orbited my skull. It was like a flame-hot poker was embedded in that sore bump at the back of my skull. I heard the tinkle of glass against the hood. I puked and nosedived to the hood. I felt the warm, stinking mess against my cheek as I lay across the hood, gasping. Glass splinters sparkled on the hood. Satan had slugged his flashlight against my skull. I saw the fellow demon's shadow bobbing inside the hog. He was frisking it, too. Satan said, "Nigger, you got a sheet downtown? What do you do for a living?" I whispered, "I've never been in trouble. I'm an entertainer. I'm a dancer." He said, "You black conning bastard. How in the fuck do you know what a sheet is? You been mugged, nigger? Stand up straight. I'm gonna take you downtown. You can jig a few steps on the show-up stage." I struggled off the hood. I turned and faced him. I looked up into the red, puffy face. Top came around the back of the hog and stood between us. He said, "What's the beef, officer? This is my nephew and my Cadillac. The kid was waiting for me. He's clean. We been to a party at Sweets. You know who he is. We're personal friends of his, you dig?" Satan's puffy face creased into a hyena grin. He rapped on the windshield. I saw the demon's starch-white face peer over the rear seat. Satan waved him from the hog. He clambered out and stood beside Satan. Satan said, "Looks like we made a slight mistake, Johnny. These gentlemen are pals of Mr. Jones. Mister, all your nephew had to do to beat the roust was mention a name. Christ, we have to do our job. There's a cat burglar operating in this district. The lieutenant is riding our asses to nab him. Sorry about the whole thing, gentlemen." The rollers walked across the street. They got into a black Chevrolet and gunned it away. I took a handkerchief from my back pocket and wiped my face. I wiped the bits of loose glass and most of the puke off the hood. I threw the rag in the gutter. I got in the hog. Top U-turned and headed back to Blacktown. I touched the bump on my skull. I felt a spot of sticky ooze. My skull had only a tiny split. I wiped my fingers on the end of my lapel pocket handkerchief. I thought, if it gets any rougher on this track, I'll be punchy before long. Maybe I better take Preston's advice and go back to the sticks. I said, "Geez, Sweet Jones sure has got pull. It was like magic when you cracked his name. Top said, "Magic your black ass. The only magic is in that C note a weak sweet lays on him. Every copper in the district from captain down greases his mitts on that lard bucket in Sweets' pocket. Mary, mammy of Jesus, you stink. You must have shit your pants. You sure getting funky breaks, kid. Too bad you couldn't handle Red Cora. She's one of the fastest thieves in the country." I said, "Look, Top, if that crazy pock-faced bitch had a tunnel straight into Fort Knox, I wouldn't fart in her jib. I hate old hard-leg whores." He said, "That's a chump crack. After you get hip to the pimp game, you'll take scratch from a gold-toothed, three-legged bulldog with two heads. Say, listen, kid, don't ever forget to keep that rundown on Sweet under your lid. I'm the only stud he told. He'd twist my skull off and play soccer with it." I said, "Now, Top, that's a hell of a crack to make. Do I look like the kind of rat square that would cross a pal?" I was glad when I saw the Haven's blue sign. Top parked across the street from it. I got out. I had crossed to the middle of the street. Top blew the horn. I turned back to the side of the hog. Top had my lid and a small square of paper in his hand. I took them. He said, "Kid, here's my phone number in case you want to ring me for something. Take it easy now." I passed through the lobby. The indicator pointed out. The elevator was at the 4th floor. I took the stairs and picked up the sizzle from the broom closet. The runt let me in after the first knock. I walked by her to the bedroom and stuck the sizzle in a coat pocket in the closet. I started taking my stinking clothes off. She was standing in the doorway. I tossed them in a pile in the corner. She said, "Daddy, when you passed me, you smelled like you'd been dunked in a garbage truck. What happened?" I headed for the bathroom. I was standing over the stool. She followed me. She stood in the bathroom doorway. I looked over my shoulder at her. I said, "Bitch, some white rollers busted me tonight. They got the wire I'm in town to pimp. They took me down and beat the puke out of me. Baby, they wanted me to finger you. They wanted to know where you worked. Shit, I was too pure in heart to put a finger on you, baby. I'm not feeling worth a damn, so go on the dummy, okay?" I flushed the toilet. I turned the shower on. I gave her a hard look and frowned. She turned and got into bed. I took Mickey off. It was 4 a.m. I showered and toweled off. I fell into bed without checking the scratch on the dresser. I went to sleep, wondering what to do to solve the fast track.